Think about the saddest movie you've ever seen. Now ask yourself, why was it sad? Did it make you cry? Did it leave you with a new outlook on life? Some of the films we call sad revolve around daily routine, and others revolve around major tragedies. But there is an invisible thread that links almost all of sad cinema together. And that's the idea that life goes on. Routines persist. The world doesn't hold your hand or wait for you to heal. It keeps going forward. When Bambi loses his mother, there's no processing or grieving. The seasons change, and Bambi grows. In Lost in Translation, Scarlett Johansson and Bill Murray's character shared a short moment in time together, but went back to their lives after that final scene. In Titanic, Rose lives on without Jack in the picture. Would it be as sad if everyone on that ship were unalived? That sad, wet, mushy feeling you get from a movie comes from that thread you see in almost all of sad cinema. Cinema has been orbiting this type of sadness in films for a very long time. It's not new, it's not by accident, it's just been repackaged differently. Looked at with a new and unique lens. When you think about the evolution of sad cinema, you may think about the style of sad films evolving, like black and white films becoming color, or art house movies becoming mainstream. But sadness itself hasn't evolved. It's a basic human emotion that we've all felt. Unless you're this guy, obviously. Loss, loneliness, abandonment, guilt. These are the emotions that are familiar, necessary to the human condition. What cinema has changed is how it frames these emotions, what it focuses on, and who we experience them through. By following a single lineage from Umberto D to Paris, Texas, to Up, and finally Manchester by the Sea, we see that sad cinema didn't reinvent emotion. It kept returning to the same emotional structure, told through different lenses. Umberto D, The Blueprint. Umberto D isn't just an early sad film. It's one of the clearest blueprints for how sad cinema still works. Made in 1952, during Italian neorealism, the film emerges from a post-war society grappling with poverty, aging populations, and institutional neglect. What's important is what De Sica refuses to do. We don't see any real moral lessons here, no major catastrophe or escalation. Just a man and his dog, struggling with debt, trying to survive through financial hardship, something many of us know the feeling of all too well. Umberto wishes he was paid at least 20% more, which is what the protest in the beginning of the film was for. But he's a pensioner. In the film, medium and wide shots dominate. The film avoids expressive close-ups. Music is sparse and often absent. Nothing in the film emphasizes that this is the sad part. Sadness emerges through repetition, walking the streets, feeding the dog, trying to sell personal items, trying to find someone to care for the dog. Even the ending, Umberto walking into the distance, walking with his dog, is ambiguous, not because it's mysterious, but because nothing has changed. There isn't an ending, really, that solves any real-world problems or sums it all up. Umberto's struggles don't end. There's no magic cure to it, just continuation. This establishes three ideas that sad cinema never abandons. Sadness lives in everyday life. Companionship provides meaning, not solutions. Ambiguity is honesty, not incompleteness. Everything that follows inherits this structure. What classic sad cinema keeps? This blueprint repeats across world cinema. In Bicycle Thieves, the loss of a bicycle destroys a family's stability. In Tokyo Story, sadness comes from emotional distance, not conflict. In Alcazar Balthazar, suffering is observed without commentary. These films share key traits: ordinary protagonists, systems larger than individuals, refusal of emotional catharsis. Sadness here isn't tragic, it's banal.
Che vuole lei?
Giorno. C'è aria.
Cinema learns early on that the most devastating emotion isn't sudden loss, it's slow erosion. Paris, Texas, moving sadness inward. Paris, Texas doesn't replace Umberto D. It changes the lens in which we look through. By the 1980s, Western cinema became less focused on social systems and more focused on internal conflicts. Travis isn't struggling economically. We don't know or care if he has money or a job. He's psychologically tormented by the fractures he's caused within his family. He struggles with the memories of his toxicity and abuse which caused his son to be apart from his mother. But formally, the film keeps the neorealist discipline. Long takes, minimal dialogue, delayed information. Cinematography becomes the emotional engine. Wide desert landscapes isolate characters. Instead of feeling free, which is what open spaces usually hint at, the feeling is more trapped. Travis is in the open desert because he's stuck somewhere spiritually and emotionally, and he can't escape. The film withholds Travis's backstory, not as a mystery but as a reflection of trauma. We see the effects before the cause. Like Umberto, Travis cannot reintegrate into society. Like Umberto, companionship briefly stabilizes him. But here, sadness is no longer caused by the world. It's carried inside the character. The emotional structure remains unchanged. Only the lens shifts. Up, translating sad cinema for everyone. Up is one of those movies almost everyone has watched, and almost everyone can agree that it's one of the saddest films ever. Up doesn't reinvent sad cinema, it just takes it into a new direction. The opening montage is structurally neorealist. No dialogue, lost through absence. Carl is functionally Umberto, an elderly man, emotionally anchored to the companionship, outpaced by a world that no longer needs him. Pixar simplifies the visual language. Brighter colors, musical cues, clear symbolism, but the emotional mechanics are identical. What Up proves is that audiences don't need sadness explained, they only need it communicated clearly. This moment marks a cultural shift. Emotionally restrained storytelling becomes acceptable in mainstream cinema. Manchester by the Sea. Sadness as identity. Manchester by the Sea feels modern, but structurally it circles back to Umberto D. Even the final image is almost identical. Routine dominates the narrative. The environment feels indifferent and unsympathetic. Scenes end without resolution or payoff. Lee Chandler isn't trying to overcome grief. It's clear that regardless of how much time passes, that sadness and pain will remain. You can see this clearly in the scene where Lee and his ex-wife see each other walking in the neighborhood one day by chance, and both of them start to talk to each other and cry, and Randy apologizes for the hurtful words she said. Lee isn't trying to hide his pain or suppress it, he's trying to function alongside it. The film's fragmented structure mirrors this. Flashbacks interrupt the present. Music appears without emotional guidance. Scenes cut before catharsis. Like Umberto, Lee doesn't learn a lesson. Like Travis, he cannot fully reconnect. The ending doesn't offer hope or despair, only continuation. This is sad cinema refined to its most honest form. So what actually evolved? Sad cinema didn't evolve emotionally, it evolved formally, and technically, and even structurally. But the same emotional structure, routine, companionship, loss, ambiguity, passes through different moments and cinematic languages. Sadness remains constant. Cinema doesn't teach us how to feel, it keeps finding new ways to recognize it and display it. And that's why these films endure.